fun with failure.
Welcome to the Legbeard Experience. This is your host Dallas. This is actually a Legbeard edition, but no less disturbing. We got 3 Legbeards that we're going to discuss today. One of the stories being Dank and her entitlement to being disgusting. Then we have LB, the watch Legbeard. Then we have DJ, which has some very disturbing ways of making money. So sit back and prepare yourself because here we go. This is a story about Dank. I have a lot of Dank stories and related stories, so let's get into the characters. There's Dank. She's a Legbeard. And then we've got Betty. She's Dank's sweet, if not scarred mom. And there's me, and an assortment of other friends that she had. Now, Dank rarely bathed. Her normal look was shallow skin, oily hair hidden in a ponytail, and some sort of fandom shirt of anime. This of course was her everyday wear, and she also wore sandals and bright socks. After a few years of this poor hygiene, she started to keep a tally of how long she could go without taking a shower. She'd also play 15 hours plus binging video games. This would also include manga and anime marathons. She actually got quite proud of her breaking through the barrier of a month without showering. This led to some very disturbing issues. First, being that her house, it felt like it was always smelling bad and unclean, despite her mother's best efforts. The second being her very uncomfortable conversations, and the worst conversations started out like, "This is awesome not having to bathe for this long," and she would go on about it. And another terrible thing that she tried to do to her guest while they were there, she would say, "Why don't we watch some hentai?" And this was after she was bragging about how unclean everything was around her. She made an effort to make everything disgusting. Trash and junk everywhere. Strangely enough, she managed to snag a boyfriend despite her poor habits. He was a neckbeard light, not exactly a full neckbeard, but he had potential. But that's a story for another time. She'd also escaped public school by saying that she was ill, and yet still managed to make it to anime expos. Yes, she was the smelly nasty things at anime expos causing that odor. Dank also had this wonderful habit of entitlement, that she wanted what she wanted. It never occurred to her that her mom couldn't afford most of the things she wanted. I remember going over one day, and Dank mentioning that she wanted to see a movie. She was getting herself all worked up, and finally yelled at her mom to come to her room. To the best of my memory, this is how the events went over. "Mom, I want to see this movie." "I'm sorry, dear. I just had to pay for the bills and we don't have that much money." "So? I can't really afford to spend that much money right now." "You're a stupid idiot." This made me quite angry, because I'm from a poor family and I understand. I would speak out and say, "Don't call your mom a stupid idiot like that." Later on that day, her mother pulled me aside and thanked me for it. I went over to Dank's to be friends because I was really depressed, and I didn't really put much value on myself. So I'm glad right now that I'm more normal. One time I walked in on her and one of her friends. They were cackling, staring at the PC. Luckily, none of what caused the humor was left on the screen. Anyways, I see Dank reach out, and she was making a shaky old lady hand and her mouth agape, making a weird granny noise, which made her friend laugh. Stupidly, I had to ask what was going on. This is something I've never seen either of them do before. Then Dank turns to me, and with that creepy granny face, she said, "We're just watching grannies get it on." Then she went ahead and pulled it back up on her computer. Now, I know that older people get it on too, and it's just life. There's nothing new there. But to be subjected to their terrifying imitations of them, it was horrifying. I had to get out of there. Like I said, I have more stories about her, but we'll cover that next time. Hearing all these stories about Legbeards and Neckbeards, I've got a story for you about a Legbeard. We'll call her LB for short. I'm still in my high school days. I'm not sure why, but there were a ton of them at my school. This one is a short story. Now, LB was a typical Legbeard. Overweight, ill-fitting clothes, lover of not well-known anime. She had a massive superiority complex, and she always wore the same watch every day. Well, you might be thinking, well, that's not weird. Everybody wears watches. Hush, my gentle reader, because I promise you that the neckbeard is afoot, and this comes into play later. My friend Jay and I had a class with LB. I think it might have been English, not sure. My memory is hazy. I usually try to suppress these memories, but alas, these stories have reminded me. Now, LB would do this thing where she would put a folder up in front of her face for a few seconds, and then put it down. No one really thought about it much, but they thought it was kind of odd that she did it every 10 seconds. What was even more strange was the fact that she would lick the face of her watch afterwards. Now, this is where things get weird. What follows is very disturbing and disgusting. You've been warned. One day, while we were sitting in class, we had finished our assignment early, so we had time to kill. Feeling the arduous passing of time beginning to affect him, seeing that she was wearing her signature watch that she loved to lick, he asked her what time it was. I don't know," she said rather dismissively. "You're wearing a watch. Can't you tell time?" Then we saw the reason for her nervousness. The face of LB's watch, it was covered with a thick, viscous layer of various colored boogers. Snozberries, if you will. It was so bad that you couldn't even see the numbers on her watch. Horrified by this, Jay immediately began to question why the crap would possess a human to store their nose gold on a timepiece. Then suddenly, in a fit of rage and possible contempt, she licked the entire face of her watch while staring at Jay directly in the eyes, completely cleaning the layer of filth that slimed her watch. Then Jay said, "Girl, you nasty. Remember how I told you that she would put a folder up to her face? Well, it turns out that she was picking her nose and saving those savory snacks for later. Yep, she loved those snozberries. So what she was doing with the folder was she was concealing her dastardly deeds of disgustery. Yep, I made that word up just for her." This is a legend that was passed down to me by one of my coworkers who lived with a Legbeard roommate. We will call her L. And the Legbeard? We will call her DJ. Now, L was a single mother with 2 kids, fairly young, needing a place to stay. She responded to a Craigslist ad that said, "Roommate wanted." Her half of the rent was cheap, and the house looked decent, so she took her up on the offer. Now, DJ, she was a corpulent woman. I mean, she was at least 350 pounds plus. She was also a LARPer and would go to LARPs and RP on WoW. She would also RP while playing Warhammer 40k. Also, DJ rarely ever left the house, which was odd for L, because she didn't know how she made her money if she had no job. This was a mystery for sure, which unfortunately she found out why. She was never seen showering, and her bedroom, master bedroom of course, was littered with a graveyard of fast food bag, cups, and Little Debbie wrappers. Then came the fateful day where Elle would soon find out how DJ made her money. One day, while playing with her kids, Elle heard a distinct sound of voices coming from DJ's room. She was also beginning to hear some very unsettling noises. It was loud and not very discreet, as it permeated the humble abode. Elle didn't want the kids to hear this debauchery going on, so she banged on the door. Silence. Then a voice within yells, "F off, I'm working." Angered by this, Elle opens the door to confront the antagonist. There she was, butt naked in front of a Google Hangout call, with several dudes watching her do things you would never want to see her do. Luckily, most of Elle's fat rolls, they covered up most of Elle's view. Disgusted at this sight, Elle left quickly, wanting to get her kids out of the house for a bit. She started to get them dressed quickly when a fully naked DJ comes out, barging into her kids' room in full view of the poor children. Then she started yelling at Elle saying, "You ruined my camgirl session." Yep, DJ made her money by being a camgirl for dudes who like 'em rather larger than life. Then she later admitted that she would get paid money to send her soiled underwear to creeps on Craigslist that wanted them. Elle had to shield her poor children from DJ's spectacle. She told Elle that she was offended by this. Then DJ went on to say, "Let 'em see a fine body. It's good to see what real beauty's like." Then she stormed back to her room and slammed the door. Thank God. Elle told me that she moved out later that month. That was a short one, but I felt like it was worth sharing. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed those stories. So, which one did you find the most disturbing? Put your answers down in the comments below. And also, if you have any stories you'd like to share, send it to my email listed below. Also wanted to mention, whenever this channel is able to pay for itself and make a little extra money, I'm going to have contests so people can win stuff like mugs, t-shirts, coffee cups, and the like. And I can also supply gift cards to those who win. But this will probably be later on down the line, depending on how good the channel does. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really happy that you guys enjoy this content, and I really enjoy doing it. So until next time, keep your legs and arms inside the ride, and don't feed the neckbeard.